Hi, this is Mike from Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How To, and today we're going to talk about something a little bit different. We're going to talk about overclocking memory modules. Keep watching to find out more. Okay, so this video is actually directly related to a message I received about one of my other videos recently. There was a video I made where I did a budget build and I used this cheap Corsair Vengeance LPX RAM. Now this RAM is 2133 megahertz RAM. So to give you the full specs of this RAM, it is 13, 16, 16, 28, and it's 1.2 volts. And this is version 5.30, if that means anything at all. But this basically comes normally as a 2-stick kit, 2 8-gig sticks making a 16-gig kit. Now, somebody mentioned in the budget build video that by using this type of RAM, I'm actually crippling the Ryzen processor, which crippling is probably a slightly harsh word to use for how the RAM actually affects the processor. Yes, granted, the Ryzen processor is actually good for a lot higher bandwidth memory, and the Infinity Fabric actually does do a lot of benefits to the internal workings of the chip. More so if you have an APU, less so with a CPU. But with all the benchmarks about, yes, you do get improvement performance-wise. This RAM was £35 for a stick, whereas realistically now, even the cheapest of DDR4 RAM in October 2018, you're looking at 60, 70, 80 pounds for a decent branded RAM of 8 gigs. So to buy a 16 gig set would cost me probably 120, 130, maybe even more if I wanted some RGB RAM or something like that. So for what cost me £70 for 16 gigs of RAM for this budget system is fantastic, and it does exactly everything I need it to. It doesn't seem to hold the system back in any way. And in fact, in my benchmarks, the only thing that does hold the system back is the GPU, which is the GTX 970 from NVIDIA, which in real terms, it should be a much better card in that system. But it's what I had, it's what suited the budget, so that's what was in there. So getting back to overclocking, so in the email it said about basically the RAM was crippling the system. So I thought to myself, well, this RAM is actually standard very low voltage, 1.2. The timings are quite tight. So I thought, well, with a little bit of a loosening of the timings and a little bit of extra voltage, I wonder what we can get these sticks actually up to. So the first thing I did is go into the BIOS and manually set the RAM settings. So the default settings on this RAM, for some reason on this Asus board, are around about 15, 15, 15. So it should be a little bit lower than that, the 13 for the first number. So I've just loosened it slightly, so 16, 16, 16, and then gone down to the bottom and changed the RAM voltage to 1.3, which is quite a big jump, but should give us a bit of headroom for some pretty decent overclocks. So started off with a moderate overclock of 2667 or 2666, whichever way you want to look at it, which rebooted, and we did a couple of benchmarks, and it worked out absolutely fine, no problems at all, no blue screens, no nothing, which I was actually quite surprised. So then we moved on, up in the clock slightly, went to 2733, again, no problem at all, 2800, same sort of deal, with incremental improvements in performance each time. Now, not massive gains, but pretty good gains nonetheless. So kept on increasing it up. I did try 3000, but it blew screens, so I didn't really want to tweak the voltage up any higher, and I didn't want to loosen the timings off too much. So we've dropped it back down to 2933, and it runs pretty well under that setting. I did find with Far Cry 5, which is actually running in the background, that at 2933 there was some instability. The program wouldn't always run, although there has been a massive update to it recently which may have caused that. So I lowered the timings to 2866 and the game's been running absolutely fine, and we're still getting some pretty good frame rates. On average, probably about 5 to 10% faster overall. So for the very little tweaking we did in the BIOS, which is effectively a free upgrade, managed to get this RAM to actually perform a lot better. Now, I wouldn't say that previously it was crippled in any way, shape or form, but it just goes to show with a little bit of tweaking, you can get a lot of performance out of RAM sticks, no matter how old or how low powered they seem. So to wrap this up, Yes, overclocking RAM or getting faster RAM is a great thing to do and can actually give you a load more performance for your system. Whether or not it's worth actually paying extra money, if you've already got some 2133 RAM or some 2400 RAM, I would suggest have a play. Try, see if you can get it overclock a little bit more, squeeze a little bit of performance out of it. But in my mind, it doesn't seem worthwhile selling perfectly good RAM to buy RAM which is a little bit faster for the very incremental speed improvements you get from it. So let me know in the comments below what experiences you've had with overclocking RAM and your problems or your triumphs. I'm really interested to know how far you can get RAM. I may well revisit this and try and see if I can get it over that 3000 megahertz barrier. We'll see, maybe do a follow-up video on that. But like I said, I'm really interested to hear what overclocks you've had out of your RAM and what settings you've used. So I've been Mike, this is Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How To, and this has been Overclocking RAM for Beginners. Thanks for watching.